So what is big data? Anyone want to? Okay, you guys may have already been looking at the slides, but without looking at the next slide, what are some of the characteristics of big data? What do you guys think?
Big data.
Big, yeah. Like what's big?
Big data.
Yeah, big data. You cannot use
Oh,
it to define itself. You can't say big data is big data. Edwin is Edwin. Yes, but I haven't learned any. Large quantities of data. Okay, that's like the same.
Large quantities of information.
How big?
Require
How big?
See right here. Big data articles. Big data PowerPoint.
So we're talking about megabytes. Petabytes. Yeah. So we're talking probably gigabytes, probably petabytes of data.
Peta?
So yeah, peta. Peta is or terabyte. Tera is 1,000 gigas, right? Petabyte is 1,000 terabytes. And typically, big data has the way that people talk about it is it's really vague. It's like big data, yeah, that makes sense. It's big data, like you guys are saying. But there are other characteristics that make it important that you guys understand what it is. Okay. So I wrote down some key characteristics. Big, yeah. So too big for your typical RDB events. Too big to hold in Access or a MySQL or Oracle database. Like too big for a relational database management system. So we need new techniques to hold this data. Obviously, the definition of big moves with time. So when I'm talking about terabytes today, it'll be petabytes tomorrow. So what is this data? So you guys obviously know a lot about the type of data that's collected because we did that exercise the first day of class, but something that makes the data so big is it's collected automatically through your devices. So with the huge expansion of everyone having their own cell phone, laptop, and also all the sensors that are placed in various industries and the way that they measure their work and their productivity, they can measure so much and they collect so much data that this is all due to obviously the increase in technology. And this data is based on time series, so things are measured repeatedly. So my cell phone geolocation data, I don't know how often it's measured, but it's not once a day, right? It's measured continuously, several times a day. I don't know. But this also, the repeated measure makes the data just explode, and the things you can do with the data. I saw a headline that Microsoft and Google know better than you do where you'll be in the future. Right? So, okay, multiple data types. So usually in a database, you might have numbers or something like that, or you might have the data come from one place. Then your relational database management system is based on, like we did in our AIS class. So you did your AIS class, all the information about a company. All the data is basically related. Well, with big data, you're collecting data from all types of sources, relating it together to generate a bigger, broader picture. So the easy example is thinking about who you are. You guys talked about all the different data sources to describe who you are. And the data comes from all different locations, right? And they're able to, like you said, predict where you're going to be, what your thoughts are, how you identify yourself. So big data, takes unstructured data, gives it some structure. So raw text is the big example, or data from display photographs or data from video. This is unstructured data that blends into this idea of big data. Big data sort of implies real-time analysis. So what's the point of having all this data? I think it's nice to see what happened in the past, but it's nice to also know what's going on right now. Or nice to also predict what's going to go on in the future. So So big data, you're talking about real-time analysis for decision making on the spot. Okay, I already talked about that bullet point, and now this final bullet point is there's so much data that we don't consider outlier data, because those points of data that used to deviate from the norm or from the mean, there are many examples of that type of data now. So they can be analyzed and they can be codified and understood, and meaning can be given to outliers. So these are some of the key characteristics of big data that I've understood from all of my reading. Now, you guys are going to engage in some self-learning. We're going to engage in a little big data debate. So there are two ideas that I want you guys to approach. And I want you guys to take sides. And I want you to either take the side of big data is the next great thing for organizations and should be pursued relentlessly. The other side, big data has many pitfalls, should be approached with caution and avoided in some instances. So I placed on Blackboard some articles that bolster these arguments. The first article was written by and placed in it was placed in the Harvard Business Review recently, and it talks about the virtues of big data. The second article was written by a Microsoft fellow and someone else. Talks about some of the pitfalls of big data, what we are exposing ourselves to by following this path. Then the third article is really long, it's like 61 pages, but it's easy reading. It's a summary of this panel of experts and from different like CEOs of different big companies, and they're giving their opinion on big data and how it will be used in the future.